Hello my friends, welcome to my corner once again. I am sure you have heard at one point in your life the phrase, don't judge a book by its cover. Well, in this case, I actually judged and bought this book because of its cover, and I don't think you can blame me. Look at this beautiful cover that we have right here. The cover is understated, is poetic, it's not showy, and this is exactly the same thing that you could say about this novel. This is not surprising because the cover was actually painted by the author of the novel, Tove Jansson, who was a Finnish woman who spoke and wrote in Swedish. Her most famous novel is The Summer Book from 1972. And actually, I did buy this book because of the cover, but this is the way it happened. I was on Amazon and the cover popped up at one point. I can't remember what it was that I was searching for. I saw the cover, I liked it, I was like, I would like to read a book that has this cover, but first let me just get another book by the same author, maybe from the public library, so that I know or have an idea what I'm getting myself into. So I went to my library and found a copy of The Summer Book, as I said, 1972. This is the story of a young girl who spends a summer with her grandmother. It's an episodic, poetic, I would say impressionistic novella. It is a novella, not really a novel. And I really enjoyed it, so I was like, okay, now I can go safely on Amazon and buy this book because of the cover. Now, Tove Jansson is known primarily because of her books for children, the series about the Moomins. You may have heard that. I think I'm pronouncing that right, Moomins. But she also wrote many novels, and I think about 5 of them are available in English. So after reading the Summer Book and enjoying that novella, I thought, okay, let's go now and get this this book, the True Deceiver. This is the title of the book. It was published in 1982. And what we have here is a very vivid portrayal of the life of a small community. It's one of those small towns where everybody knows everybody else. And we have basically 3 characters here. We have Katri, who is like, I believe, 25 years old. Her brother Mats, who is 10 years younger than her. They both live in an attic above a store, right? So this is the setting, just so you know. And we have another character that they are going to encounter in their lives, and this is Anna, who is, I think that her age is not specified, but we are supposed to think of her as an elderly, or at least an older woman who lives in her own house. Now, Katri is a bit of a cynic. She's always thinking that people have other motives for doing the things they do. She's just very, very cynical. She seems to know everything there is to know about people, but she's still seen as an outcast. She does not interact with others because she has this cynicism about her. Anna, on the other hand, is somebody who trusts people, maybe a very naive person. So if you think about it, it seems like these 2 characters, you have the perfect recipe for disaster there when they are going to come together. This is what happens. At one point, Katri meets Anna and offers to help her manage her affairs because she is interested in Anna's money primarily. And that's how it happens. Both Katri and her brother Mats eventually move to Anna's house. They move out of that attic above the store, and they basically, come to form some kind of a weird type of family with Anna, the 3 of them. Because of the situation that is presented in this novel, and because of the way that Katri basically takes over Anna's life, I was thinking as I read it that another great title for this novel would have been Parasite. Parasite as in this Parasite, the, Bong Joon-ho film that everybody has seen now. Anna is the artist, Katri is the pragmatist. So the main topic, the main theme that we have in The True Deceiver is the clash between the creative and the practical impulses in human beings. A great example of this is, for instance, Anna is, as a children's illustrator, or an illustrator of children's books, she receives many letters from kids, and she just loves to answer them. She sits down and starts, typing these replies to children. It's something that she loves doing. Well, when Katri comes in as the manager, the organizer, the person who simplifies She says, well, I think that you could actually categorize these letters and just answer with a template, all of them the same. This would save you a lot of time. So you see what Katri does. She basically destroys the beautiful spontaneity of life. All the color, everything that is beautiful about life, she just organizes everything. She says, okay, this is business, right? So we have that practical, pragmatic impulse versus Anna's creativity and her desire to just be, more human, less of a machine, if you want to put it that way. So having looked a little bit at Anna and Katri, the obvious question right now would be, so where does Mats come in? Where does he stand in this whole thing, right? And he's a very interesting character. He's perceived as simple, or a bit of a simpleton by other people in the town. So maybe we can think he has some kind of a disability, mental health issues or things like that. That is what is implied by the novel. I could not help thinking of the Tarjei Vesa's novel The Birds, which has a similar setting, of course, because it's Scandinavia, and also this character Mattis, right, who is in a similar situation to this Mats that we meet here in The True Deceiver. Mats also likes to draw, just like Anna, but he draws blueprints of boats. So you see what we have here? We have basically a character who's a little bit of both. He has a little bit of Anna, the creative part of the creative impulse and stuff like that. And also he has a little bit of Katri, the more pragmatic impulse. He draws, but he draws something that is eventually going to be useful to him, this blueprint of a boat. And for this reason, maybe it is that he can navigate between the two perspectives very easily. He gets along with Anna when it's necessary, and with Katri also when it's necessary. So very interesting character here that we have right in the middle of these two perspectives. He doesn't seem to know a lot about people. The only one here who really knows people, and this is a little bit depressing, right? A little bit negative, but the only one who knows about people is Katri, and she is extremely cynical. It seems to me that knowing about people could lead you two ways. You can come to some kind of a compassionate understanding of other human beings, of the plight of your fellow men and women, or you could become a total misanthrope, and that is what happens with Katri. She is very good at turning people against each other, and you can see this in the novel, and that is one of the ways that she comes to control the world of Anna, and that is how she achieves her goals within the novel too. So my final assessment, some final concluding thoughts about this novel. This is just a beautiful, very vivid, very quiet novel, okay? It's just understated. That's the best word that I can come up with to describe it, especially the ending. The ending is completely understated. It's open but satisfying. I'm not going to tell you how it ends, but this is the best way that I can describe this novel. It's understated, but at the same time, it doesn't rely entirely on suggestion. This is not a novella, okay? It's a short novel, 180 pages, something like that, but that does not make it a novella automatically. I have shared some views on the novella in previous videos, and I will probably do it again in future ones, because that is like my little topic in life, the novella. The summer book is a novella. It's episodic, it suggests, right? It leaves many things open. The True Deceiver may have some elements of the novella, but at the end of the day, this is a short novel that is suggestive, vivid, beautiful, but not really, it doesn't really fit into the genre of the novella. I enjoyed both, okay? I really liked the summer book for what it was, for the novella that it was, and I really, really liked The True Deceiver. But I'm gonna say this, I enjoyed The True Deceiver a little bit more than I did the summer book. I know this may be weird because the summer book is the book by Tove Jansson that everybody reads. The True Deceiver is important, but not her major novel. But I have to say, I really enjoyed The True Deceiver a little bit more, even though the novella is my thing. Both books left me wanting more, so I am going to read more by Tove Jansson. And I think my next novel will probably be Fair Play, which was published in 1989. That is easily available to me. It's been translated into English, so I'll probably continue with that. And there's also a collection of stories titled The Woman Who Borrowed Memories. And I really like short stories. They're always fun to read, and they don't require a lot of time, especially when you're, insanely busy. So that's another book that I might continue my reading of Tove Jansson with. In any case, I highly recommend the summer book. If you like the summer book, by all means continue with the True Deceiver, or the other way around. Either way, I think will work very nicely for you. So those are my thoughts on Tove Jansson's The True Deceiver. I hope you give this book a chance and that you enjoy it. Thank you so much for stopping by, and have a wonderful day.